Right, Bill, thank you very much for agreeing to join me today and for answering the questions. First of all, what I'd like to do is just introduce Speller Metcalfe for me,
Of course.
and also sort of maybe throw in there how you work with Gloucestershire College. That's what I'm
Okay, by means of an introduction, I'm Bill Munn, I'm the Best Practice Manager within Speller Metcalfe. Speller Metcalfe are a 20 years old company, which is relatively new for construction. We're a construction company churning over approximately £125 million a year with 200 employees. But what we have, and we manage to influence, is a fairly significant supply chain. What we don't do, we don't generally lay any bricks ourselves or hang any doors or paint any walls. We have a supply chain that we manage to do that for us. So we're more of a managing construction company or a managing contractor. Our offices are here in Malvern. We have a new office in Wolverhampton where we're hoping to develop new business from spreading north. And we have an established office also in Gloucester, which is managed by Andy Metcalfe and his team. We have a London office also. 20 years is relatively new, and to have a turnover of £125 million is significant growth. It might be worth making the point, first of all, that people, what do they imagine when they hear of construction? I'd perhaps like to make it clear to your team, by means of support, that we are a construction company. We are a business. Our product just happens to be construction. And if we were selling insurance, or if we were selling, some sort of clothing, you would expect that company to have an HR department and a marketing department and all the other aspects of a business. We have those, and the skills that go along with them are just as critical to our business. First of all, we promote our business, and then we build for people. Our engagement with Gloucester College and many other colleges, to be fair, and what we look for is, I guess, service first of all. What can Gloucester bring to us that we need, that marries with our business and our growth, our aspirations and our mission and vision and the culture that we want in our business. And as importantly, that culture is based on what our clients expect of us. So if I can step back a little, on every one of our projects, we now undertake client satisfaction surveys. I undertake those personally, so I have first-hand experience of that. We undertake a survey within 2 to 3 weeks of a project starting. That gives us an opportunity to see what our pre-construction service is like to that client. Then I undertake a survey midway through the project to see how the actual construction phase is going. It gives us an opportunity to view relationships, how we're performing technically, and then I undertake another survey 2 to 4 weeks on completion of a project. And that gives the clients an opportunity to tell us how we performed across a number of criteria. Not just programme and not just technically, but how did the team perform? How was our service delivery? And did we meet their aspirations? How did we manage the finances of that job? And other criteria. So the client is talking about their experience of the Speller Metcalfe service. And I guess that becomes our culture, because from that we learn about where we need to improve. And I will be looking for trends. If one person complains about service or praises service, and it could just be an obscure remote result, we're looking for a trend in the centre which will tell us where our business needs to grow and improve. And that then sets the culture, but we are very client focused in what we deliver. And I guess, coming back to the original part of this question, we're looking for someone that would support that vision with us. Not enough to produce technically qualified people in this business. So apprentices are great. We want them, we need them. The business needs them. We need other skills that are softer around communication. So English language, and not just English language, I might add. We operate in a diverse communities around the country, predominantly around the Midlands. But we're looking, communication written is of course critical in this business with the number of contracts we deal with. But verbal communication. If our clients are to like us, we need to be able to speak with them, clearly, make our points well and support our views well, but do it in a way that is sort of empathetic and understanding, not just not just bullish. We want clients to like our team, and that's what I would hope to see reflected in the surveys that I undertake. So there are other communication skills which sit outside, I guess, the traditional further education and apprenticeship and technical skills that can be delivered in a college. We want a bit more. And even with the college having delivered them, I guess we would then like to hone those skills ourselves, but that's up to us as a business before we expose people to our clients. Worth mentioning probably also, and I alluded to it earlier, that we influence, and not control, but influence a significant supply chain. So our bricklaying is done by external companies, our carpentry, our ceilings, our electricity, our windows are installed. We manage a supply chain. So we can try to influence the way that they take on trainees and apprentices, and that is our driver. But it's also worth bearing in mind that whilst they're, I guess, employed by other companies and managed by other companies, we're interested in getting the same skills that I just alluded to that are important to this business in our supply chain. Our reputation, the reputation of Spiller Metcalfe, lies in the hands of our supply chain. So if we undertake with a client to, be respectful to neighbours, to not have loud radios and to control any bad language that there might be, then our supply chain have got to do that. They've got to agree to meet the standards. And if they don't, our reputation is ruined in an instant. And that will come out in those client satisfaction surveys.
So when you're doing those surveys, and say for example you saw a gap that wasn't as high performance as you wanted it to do, what's your next steps from there? Where do you go when you're looking to drive that high performance?
Okay, I guess it's fair to say that those surveys, when they come back, they're confidential. I inform the client that they're confidential because they might not want to talk about the performance of a site manager or a contracts manager if they thought it was going directly to them.
Yeah.
Those surveys go to the main board directors. So they see those the moment they're completed and they're distributed to the directors. And they see a collective at every board meeting and discuss them. And if that's when we might see a trend, and if it were a downward trend, and it might be a trend, let's say, against one person within the business, who for many reasons might not be performing. That's not to say they're not capable. Maybe they're overworked. And that will be an area where we need to look. And that director responsible for that employee will look at what the trends might be there. It could be a personality clash. Who knows?
Yeah.
It could be an issue with an individual in the business. It could be an issue where they're just too busy. And that's perhaps our fault. So yes, we need to rectify that. And that's when certainly we might be looking to uplift their training. It might be how to deal with difficult people. Because some clients are difficult. They don't want to be. It's just the nature of the beast. And it might be how to, and I talked earlier, how to perform in written communication. It's important that you can express yourself well in letter or verbally. So it might just be honing those skills. Worth mentioning also that many of our managers and senior managers in this business have come through a trade background. Okay. So they started as apprentices, they went on to be under-site managers or deputy site managers, to be a site manager, and they've succeeded in all of these. They went on to, let's say, be a contracts manager, where they're managing several contracts, and they've developed their skills, but maybe we haven't trained them enough. Okay. Because you can take an excellent site manager, you can make him into a contracts manager, and if you give them no complementary training, what you've done, you've lost your best site manager and you've inherited an absolutely average contracts manager. And it's not their fault. No. But that's a development strategy that must exist within the business. And I think that despite our best efforts, that will happen. But that's where, again, the skills that the college can bring to developing teams, to meet the culture that we desire, is where we need to be working closer together. It's not just about hand tool skills, that there is more to it than that. And it's not just about technical skills in learning how to financially manage a project. You can do financial management with a laptop and you can manage the programs, but there has to be this communication. You need to be the right person.
So, but if you were to work with Gloucester College, and you were to put a solution together in terms of closing that gap between completing a course to getting a work-ready member of staff that used to be a student, what sort of things would you suggest would be a good way to do it? And it might be that's quite a challenging question, really. But I'm wondering maybe if there's an idea of the collaboration that needs to take place then.
Okay, one of the things I often think, and please, this is not a criticism, this is me thinking now because you just asked me the question. It would be, we work closely with some schools. We all know the challenges of trying to get young people into a construction sector. We know how challenging that is. We're facing that. We're involved in something called the Adopt a School initiative, and we're working around the area. We're working where we can with underrepresented groups. Now that might be around gender, as it happens to be locally, and it could be some ethnic or whatever background. Those are the challenges. But we're trying not just to get the pupils into school, but to try and get the teachers into school. So teacher placement is a program which I think is very strong, is excellent, because the teachers have access to young people all the time. What would be wrong with getting some college lecturers to take a week out, a sabbatical or something, spend a week in a construction company? Actually, it needs 2 days on perhaps a construction site, because that's where our product is.
Yeah.
But it needs 3 days around the office to talk about these softer skills that we're talking about. And then if that learning was taken back into the classroom, I think there's an opportunity there. Just if it was only a discussion with the youngsters about these are the skills you need. I'm not suggesting that every day you can let some of the technical skills go and teach that, but actually to make students more desirable to us, to make the college more attractive as a provider to us, to deliver the service that we desire in the same way that we wish to deliver a service to our clients that they desire. This is the chain. It is no different. And we see colleges as a supply chain member, as we see glaziers and bricklayers and electricians, a service provider to us that's precious in the presentation of our business image to our clients. And I don't know if that answers your question, but I do think if we could get lecturers into our company, into our business, to see what we're about. They deserve to know, otherwise, forgive me, I mean, maybe we're just delivering against qualifications. It's like in schools, and I don't want to digress too much, schools deliver against an Ofsted programme, a target, and if they don't, they're perceived to have failed. And yet, there's more to it. And we, British Industry UK, desire more than just academic outcomes. People talk about, are they job ready? And I think that's where other skills, softer skills, need teaching.
So there's an opportunity then to collaborate together for colleges, to collaborate with workplaces to make students employable. And that's really what we're talking about, is the employability of those individuals, that when they complete their course, that course also embeds some of those softer skills that you mentioned and some of the workplace ready skills, so that when they do get here, it's not so difficult for them to transit from a course to work. It's actually, I've kind of been doing it for a long time anyway.
That's exactly what we need. And I think that desire, that wish, that opportunity is not restricted to construction. I started by saying we're a business and our product is construction. I'm imagining that business is like Kinetic up the road. The skills they desire, the technical skills, will be a world apart. But the social, the communication and the client interfacing skills will be no different. Would be my bet. And I haven't spoken to them about that, but that would be my bet.
That's brilliant, Bill. I think that's absolutely fantastic. In terms of one more question that I've got to ask you, part of the development day that we're doing is on high performance, and I've asked another organisation this as well. So maybe if you could suggest 2, maybe 3 things that someone could apply to their work that would make them high performing. What are the things, what are the traits, the characteristics that you expect, that you think makes you high performing?
It's hardly an aspiration of a high performer, but I think the quality that any young person, if that's what we're talking about, can bring to employment is enthusiasm. In this industry, that's what people want to see. because we have all sat next to someone who has no desire to work, is not interested in what you're telling them, and the worst case scenario is you're talking to them and training them and they're texting on their phone. I mean, that's not going to help. So bring enthusiasm. That's for sure. Because if someone's enthusiastic, we are all inclined to encourage them, and we're happy to give of our time and knowledge and experience and technical expertise to develop that person. And because they have enthusiasm, they will go through a business. Because if someone comes with enthusiasm, you can put the other stuff in, because they're receptive to the notion, receptive to the training, and it's natural that they will benefit from that. They will see the support they're getting and they will grow. And many apprentices have gone on to be managing directors. I know that. I have personal experience of that. There is also, I think, a good academic background is good, but being able to apply that.
Okay.
And I think sometimes, if I can step back again, and I'm sorry to keep digressing, to our Adopt a School programme, we are trying to take construction-related problems and take them into a classroom environment and make them fit a curriculum. So it's not just, here's a maths problem, solve it. Here's a real problem, and apply that to this real, and it has more meaning. And I think if people can apply their learning, I guess is that a transferable skill, and if that's the term you use, I think it fits very nicely. And all of this is about someone showing willingness, enthusiasm, which they're not so far apart, to want to progress, and they will progress. Sure, academia plays a part, of course it does. So young people need to apply themselves in the classroom, because that's where this learning starts. And it might not have been brought from school, but I think students need to understand that here we are, this is the second half of this game, and here's another chance to win the second half, you know, in sports psychology terms. Let's go into the second half, is another chance to start this learning. But suddenly it's a bit more real, because there's a job on the end of it. And if they understand that if they're a class of students that don't yet have employment, and employers are coming in to fish for potential students, then it's real. It's a real situation, you know, and this will determine the standard of living for the rest of their lives, you know, and if they have aspirations around ownership in families and the standard of living, all that starts then. We know that it started in school. We're all too young then to grasp that. There's other things to do, but I think college is a good opportunity to make that clear, to re-establish some new criteria. For me, it's not a continuation of school, it's another opportunity. And there will be students that don't grasp that. And I don't know quite today what we do about that in the time that we've got left. But I know that those that grasp it will go on. And I think we would like to see high achievers are those coming out with ambition. And I don't know that you can teach that, it's in them or isn't. But that ambition could be born from enthusiasm. And someone encouraged them, and that led to them having ambition. I think that's the key to this. I don't think there are three key things. I think it's around an individual. I recognise also that not all individuals are given the same chance in younger life, and we need to be aware of that. But I don't think anyone should be written off. I believe that everyone should be given that second and third chance. However challenging it might be, there is something in there in everyone. So, I mean, let's make the most of that if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill, that's brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It's
been
been a pleasure.
And we'll make sure that you've got the video so that you can have a look at it and see yourself back.
I'm not sure that I want to see that. Thank you so much for telling me.
Thank you very much.